Hello and welcome back to Joe's Math Tools. In our session today, we will be calculating the LCM using the division ladder when we have two numbers and we're using two separate ladders. So if you're ready to see how this is done, let's get started. In our example today, we're going to be calculating the LCM of 9 and 27. Remember that the LCM means that you're looking for the lowest common multiple. And as stated earlier, in this example, we will be using two separate division ladders for these two numbers. Now, when using the division ladder, there are a few things you need to remember. Firstly, is that we only use prime numbers. So if you're a bit rusty on your prime numbers, you may need to brush up on that before attempting to use the division ladder. Secondly, is that we only use the numbers that will be divisible by that number. Now, when it's divisible, it means that the number will divide into that number completely without a remainder. So remember that in the division ladder, there are no remainders. So if you choose a prime number and it divides into a number but it has a remainder, that means you will need to find another number to use. So now that we've gone over those two most important steps, let's get started. So I'm going to start by prime factorizing the number 9. Now in prime factorizing 9, I'm going to think of a prime number that I can use to factorize 9. And a prime number that I can use would be the number 3. So 3 will divide into 9 3 times. And now I will need another prime number that can divide into 3. I will of course use 3 again. So 3 divides into 3 once. And once I've reached 1, I will stop using the prime factorization method on this method because 1 is not a prime or a composite number and 1 only has one factor. So the only number that I can divide into 1 is itself. So since I've completely prime factorized 9, I will now factorize 27. So I need a prime number that I can divide 27 by, which will of course be 3. So 3 will divide into 27 9 times. And we're pretty much going to be repeating the same pattern that we did with 9. So 9 will be divided by 3. 3 divides into 9 3 times. 3 will be divided by 3. And 3 divides into itself once. So now that we have prime factorized both 9 and 27, I will be expressing both of these numbers as a product of its prime factors. So I'm using the numbers that are on the left hand side of my division ladder. These numbers are what we call our prime factors. So when I express my number as a product of its prime factors, I will be using those numbers. So 9 will equal to 3 times 3. And now with 27, we're going to do the exact same thing. So 27 will equal to 3 times 3 times 3. Now in calculating my LCM for these two numbers, there is a second step that you will have to use. Now in calculating your LCM, what you're going to do now is group your pairs together, group the like prime factors that they have together. So we have 3, and we have 3, and then we have a single 3 that's left over. So to calculate my LCM, I will be using the 1 3 from this grouping. I will also be using 1 3 from this grouping, and then for my final 3, this 3 will also be included in my calculation. So with the LCM, unlike with the HCF, all of the numbers are used in our LCM. So now in calculating, I have 3 times 3, which was equal to 9. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 will equal to 27. So my LCM of 9 and 27 is 27. So if you prime factorize a number and you got an answer, you're not sure if it's correct, remember that you can always check your answer by going back to basics. Now when I say going back to basics, that's just simply going back and listing the multiples of the number. which are their timetables. So I'll list my first 5 multiples of 9 and of 27. So 9 times 1 is 9. Then we have 9 times 2, which is 18. 9 3s are 27. 9 4s are 36. And 9 5s are 45. So even if I start listing my multiples for 27, right away the first multiple is 27. And you can see that in 9, I have 27, and then my first multiple of 27 is also 27, which means that even if I was to use the listing method, the lowest common multiple that I met for these two numbers is still 27. So I don't want you to feel as if you're using this new method and you're not sure if the answer is correct. There's no way to check it. Remember that you can always go back to your foundational skills and check your answer. There's nothing wrong with going back to those steps, reviewing your answer, and just seeing if the working that you did or if the answer that you got after you did your working is indeed correct. Well, I hope this video was very helpful to you. I hope you were able to learn how to calculate your LCM when you are using the division ladder. So remember to get some practice in, develop your skills, and when you're ready, we'll be right here on Jules Math Tools, making math easy.